Hey everybody, it's Thursday. Welcome to my booth. I'm Jay. We've got a sample from Joe. Let's give it a listen and we'll see what we can come up with. It's a bunch of characters and I love them. As always, there's a form in the description if you want to do this yourself. There's coaching on my website, also linked below if you want to do this one-on-one. And then lastly, if you like this stuff and you find it helpful, hey, you can help me out by clicking the buttons. Very much appreciated. Joe, what do we got?
This is a daunting quest you speak of. As far as I'm aware, there have been none brave or foolish enough to venture into the sundered wastes in 10 years. But I accept. We shall leave at dawn. How would you like to join the ranks of my minions? Oh, what am I saying? You don't have a choice. Now hold still and I'll only make this hurt to a moderate degree. I believe that an adventure should be more than killing a dragon and taking its treasure. The journey is more important than the destination, as they say. Life is what you make it, and I want mine to be like the ones told in fairy tales.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful start. As I said, I love it. You clearly have a wonderful instinct for different characters, from one D&D player, DM, Dungeon Master, to what I guess would be maybe another. Respect. And the landscapes that you've painted with each of these, the soundscape, the music underscoring each different character really, really helps us understand what's going on in sort of the world they live in. Love it too. So just one super small technical thing to kick things off, and then we'll talk about the acting stuff, which is the exciting bit. Your overall level for this is just a bit low, so you'll want to boost this up or normalize your audio to like -3, -1 dB. Those are kind of the two numbers. Reason being, sometimes folks who are just listening to your stuff, it can be kind of misconstrued if it's not loud relative to other samples people are hearing as not as good, which, isn't true by any stretch, but it's something that happens to us subconsciously. So you just want to make sure that things are at an appropriate level. And the number that gets thrown around often is -3 dB or -1 dB, depending. Take your pick. So acting-wise, again, you have a wonderful instinct for different characters, and you're leaning into them in a really, really great way already, which I love. So we're just going to help you go a bit further or offer some suggestions to maybe take you a bit further in that direction. So one thing that keys me off is a lot of your different characters here, they talk at a relatively similar pace, which isn't bad by any stretch. It's not the thing, but what that keys me, because if I was listening to each of these individually, it wouldn't be something that I would flag. But hearing so many wonderful characters back to back that all kind of have the similar rhythm of speech keys me in that maybe we should focus more so or prioritize to a higher degree what the characters are looking for in any given circumstance, what their motivations are, to use the classic acting term, what's my motivation? We can really prioritize that, and it will make these characters much, much more vivid. And there are a few ways that you can help yourself out in amping up the characters' motivations. So if you're thinking about where they've come from, what's their backstory? Where did they start out? Are they naive? Because you've got, in these first three characters, you've got sort of three different perspectives. This guy,
I believe that an adventure should be more than killing a dragon and taking its treasure.
the way you're performing them, I get the sense that they're sort of a naive, bright-eyed person that is just looking for a grand adventure and they want to make the best of their lives. And all of that stuff, and that kind of, I have an imagination already starting about where they've come from, and they want to go off into the bright world and make something of themselves. And it's not just about getting rich and stuff like that. It's about doing these wonderful things and making the world a better place. And all of that sort of informs how I'm going to play this character and how they're going to react and interact with the world around them and the characters that they're playing with. So that's one aspect of the motivation. You can also think of what is going on in this given scenario. So with this sort of naive character, Actually, just to use another one of the characters you've got, maybe this fellow he's talking to.
This is a daunting quest you speak of.
So this veteran character busts down the door and is like, oh, we got to take this little pipsqueak with us or something. And then he says, well, you're not going to be, you should just stay here, stay safe with your little farm and your quiet little life. And then the little guy goes, hey, man, look, this is all about making the world a better place. And whether or not that's true, you can kind of make those decisions however you want, really. But that will then inform how this naive guy, if he's talking to this veteran character or if he's talking to maybe his parents or something like that, each choice you make will inform how they react to a given circumstance, which will then change the way that you're speaking with the different characters. And it will also make it very directed towards the person you're speaking to. Because if I'm that naive guy talking to the veteran, maybe I've got to prove myself. And actually, maybe you should broaden your perspective because I don't think an adventure is just about making money. Even though it's dangerous, we got to try and make the world a better place. And there's that side where he's trying to soften this big guy. But if it's his parents who are like, you can't go off to talk to, you can't go on that adventure, little one. And then he's like, well, Dad, I don't believe that an adventure is just about dragons, Dad. Maybe it becomes softer and a little bit slower paced. And it's the same character, but both of those circumstances have different responses from that same individual. And those are just different opportunities that you can select. And then the villain character, same deal. Who are they talking to? They are obviously a powerful person. They're fighting for something that they believe in, and it seems fairly nefarious, but just taking the world that they're inhabiting and what they want from it and prioritizing that and spending time thinking about that over just character voices. That's something I fall into when I'm doing audiobooks, for example, at times where I'll check in with myself and be like, I feel like I'm just switching from voice to voice and I'm not really these characters aren't really trying for anything anymore. And as soon as you switch from just doing a voice to investing in something, it becomes much more alive in that sense. So that would be my big overarching tip for really all of your characters here. Spend some time thinking about those things specifically, and it will just amp all of this up to a big degree. Let's listen to the rest of your sample.
Well, if it isn't my main man. Listen, I'll front you 20 gold to help you pay for the boat. And if it blows up, no big deal. That money is yours.
What'd you say, little peoples? Do you want to stay around so we could eat? I mean, we won't eat you. Oh, hey, where'd he go?
Hey.
That one, I just love all of your voices. With this one, there's a potential for a moment of discovery there where he's trying to trick him. Where are you going, little ones? Why don't you just stay? Hey, where'd it go? And the moment of discovery can be the scenario. So that's another thing you can think about as well, is where in space these people are. So if, for example, at the beginning of that sample, maybe they're just as an idea, I'm not saying that you should do this necessarily, but if he's talking to this person right close to him, and maybe it's, again, that small, naive little guy, and this is a big old ogre or whatever, and he leans down really close, and I visualize the space, and he says, why don't you just stay with us? It won't. And then maybe he turns to look at his buddy. We'll cook you a nice Hey, where'd he go? And you can change the space where it starts really intimate and tiny, where he's leaning down, maybe holding the little guy or whatever. And then all of a sudden he has to project to cover larger distances with his voice or something like that. Those opportunities can be useful as well.
Hey, how goes it? It's always a nice change of pace to see some new faces around here. Oh, wait a minute. You must be the adventurers from Wakefield I've heard about. Y'all got any fun stories?
That's another one, too. The moment of recognition. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you can have scanning around, putting yourself, at least for me, this is helpful, putting myself in there. This guy's kicking back at the bar. It's just business as usual. Hey, what do you be having? And then, oh, wait a minute. You must be, yeah. Hey, Debbie, check them out. And all of a sudden it becomes, you get an understanding of the space that they're inhabiting as well.
Free to take a walk amongst the flora. Feel free to take a walk amongst the flora. But be aware, these gardens cultivate several carnivorous plants, and it would be an inconvenience to ruin any perfectly good specimen to rescue you.
I like that character. My only concern is that it's a little difficult to understand exactly what's being said. I'd be curious to hear it without the music and seeing if that was a difference in terms of the intelligibility of what this character is saying. But if you're going to do a character like this, just make sure that the language is still perfectly intelligible, because by contrast...
You say, little peoples, do you want to stay around so we could eat?
That little bit on the, you'll stay around so we could eat. Just make sure that you're articulating enough to make sure that the words are clear. So the voice is really, really nice with both this ogre guy and the sort of Gollum-esque character here at the end, but just making sure that you're articulating so the language is still intelligible, because that's the most important bit of the storytelling. Unless they specifically direct you, we don't want to know what the hell they're saying. There's going to be subtitles, which, might be the case. Anyway, Joe, fantastic work. I hope this was helpful for you and everybody else out there. Until the next one of these, be well, everybody. I hope you're enjoying your summer, if you're watching this in summer. If not, I hope you're enjoying your time on this planet as it goes on. But be well. Toodles.